Plus Marvel series that is on Disney Plus. It just finished up, and I am ready to review it. I know it came out like the series came out week by week, but I wait till the whole series is done since it's a limited series. And well, it turns out now it's not even a limited series; it's gonna get a season 2. So yay! But I usually try to wait for it to wrap up so then I can talk about it, because I feel like you're watching a movie with these series, because they're supposed to be mini-series, and so I feel like once they wrap up, it's like you're finishing the movie, and so you get to finally talk about it. To me, it'd feel like if you're just reviewing one episode a week, it feels like I'm just reviewing half a movie, so that's why I feel like I wait until the end, like I did with Falcon and Winter Soldier. I know WandaVision, I haven't done it yet. I'm going to do this soon, I promise. Once the movie season slows down, then I'm going to jump on WandaVision and so forth. I've seen all of WandaVision, I just haven't reviewed it yet. But I'm going to rewatch it again just so I can give better notes on it. But here's my review for Loki, so enjoy. But Loki is the latest series in the Disney Plus series. It is directed by Kate Herron, with showrun by Michael Waldron, and it stars, of course, Tom Hiddleston, who once again stars as the charming, devilish Loki, and Sophia de Martino, who plays Sophia. Does she play Sophia? Sophia, yeah, she plays. I know she's Lady Loki, but she plays she's like a variant of Loki, and she's really good in the show. I really like her character, and I like the dynamic they have between the characters of each other. It also stars Guga Mbatha Raw. She's like the head keeper of the TVA, and she's, spoilers if you haven't finished the series, basically I would say like a light villain. Like she's someone that's turning to the villain side, and I really like her character too. I like the dynamic between her and Owen Wilson's character, and also it stars Tara Strong as Miss Minute, who is, she's so great throughout the series. You know, she's like this little digital clock that just follows people around, talks and stuff. Like she's like an info guide, but she shows up at weird places throughout the show. It's so great. And also stars Wanmi Masaku. She's like someone who is one of the head of the police force of the people that run the TVA. She basically goes out there whenever there's a mission, and she stops variants and so forth, and resets timelines to help stop evil forces from wrecking the timeline. And of course, it stars Owen Wilson as Mobius. Morbius. Wouldn't that be something? Morbius the living vampire. No, he plays a character called Mobius, and he basically is this character who, he's basically I see him more like a detective that investigates the timeline. He is like a police kind of force, part of the police force, but he basically does more of an investigation, interrogation type things than he does jump out there in a uniform. He basically wears a suit. He goes after variants, and he's a really great character, and I love the dynamic between all the characters he has, especially Loki. Oh my god, he's such a great character. Owen Wilson nails it out the park, And I also say that I will say that this show is, I was expecting to like it, but I didn't know I was going to love it. I love the show. I thought, just like Falcon and Winter Soldier, I loved it. Every moment of the episode, I was so excited to watch it. When I heard that was going to be on Wednesday instead of Friday, I was kind of bummed, because I like at the end of the week, you can just settle down and watch Loki. But I love that, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, ready for some Loki. And I'm watching, oh, it's so good. Especially, I love how they had, little special, if you pay attention, cameos and Easter eggs. Chris Hemsworth has a cameo as Frog Thor, or is it called Throg? I love that. And I love that. And then something I didn't catch, I didn't know this. I was I didn't know that. And also, I love that they have, stuff like Alligator Loki. And then there's, a episode where all the Lokis are just he's why is there an alligator there? And then bites off his hand, just in it parallels to Thor getting his hand cut off by Loki, and just stuff like that. And also, there's even a small cameo by Lady Sif, who was awesome. And then there's even a cameo, there's even just other things, there's classic Loki played by Richard E. Grant, who's a fantastic actor, and oh, it's so great. And then there's Kid Loki, and Then there's, another Loki played by, I don't know what's his name, but he's like a bald African American guy who wants to portray Loki so he can be king of the throne. And yeah, and it's just all the Lokis. And there's another version of Tom Hiddleston who's like President Loki, and he has like a voted thing on there, like, and then they all turn on, which you saw in the trailers. If you haven't, like, you've seen that scene in the trailers, and it's so great. I really enjoyed it. And Loki really picks up after the events, like in Endgame, where the Avengers accidentally created a parallel timeline, and Loki jumped into it. It picks up right from there. And you actually see that scene again play out, but from Loki's perspective, more or less. And you see that him do that, and he has to jump around throughout the season, and just going around, like, he gets caught by TVA in the first episode. He finds that owl thing and how he dies and all that stuff, and through the motion, to where he ends up joining TVA to find this other variant. What turns out variants are, of course, like multi-versions of yourself from another universe. And so he basically has to go and help the TVA stop that evil variant of himself, which is evil Loki, or turns out it's a female version of himself, which is, I think, Sophia. And so she doesn't like calling, be called Sophia or Loki, so she calls herself Sophia. And she's such a great character in the movie, and you find out why. And it's such a great in the TVA, and it turns out the TVA is run by these things called timekeepers. And you find out more about the timekeepers, and you find out about why all this is, and it turns out it's all a lie. Like, the timekeepers aren't even real, and it turns out somebody else is running it, but those are just animatronics that are basically there, created by the man who put them there. And it's not he who must not be named. That's Voldemort. Yeah, Voldemort runs the TVA. He who once was is the guy's name. And they have to go throughout the season, and it turns out he's at the end of time, and they have to travel through, this dimension where, like, once you die, like, you're pringed, which you'll dissolve, and you'll go to this dimension. And it kind of makes you wonder, whenever I get sometimes they end up here. That would be cool. I don't think they did. I think they just died. But, like, Loki and him end up there, and they have to go through this, like, giant, like, demonish looking creature, and, like, that's made of black smoke, and they have to battle it. And then they get through to this castle, and like, I was like, oh, I like, you see Miss Minute pop up, and you're like, oh, she's behind us the whole time. And I was like, no, okay, good. They said he, and I'm like, okay. I said, it better not be another Loki. Like, I'm gonna be mad if it's another Loki. And it turns out it's not. It turns out he who once was is a guy named Nathaniel Richards, who basically multiversions himself, met throughout, and he basically was one. Apparently, it's really hard to explain, but the best way that I've heard is he was one, and I saw was he was once a man. He was once a man, and he met other versions of himself through a multiverse. And then one of them apparently wanted power and corruption, and so they started a war and started killing each other. And this one, apparently, one of them is very evil, an evil person. If you read the comics, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a conqueror, and his name's not called Nathaniel Richards. It's something else. It starts with a K, and he is coming very soon, sooner than you think. If you're going to see Ant-Man and the Quantum Realms, or if you're going to watch Loki season 2. And so basically, this character, like, he's like, everybody thinks he's evil because he abducted people from the real timeline that are variants and put them there to run the TVA, because he basically did this to stop, like, if we have the TVA, we can keep these other variants of himself contained, so that way they won't come through, and it'll be an all-out multiverse war. And so Loki understands it. But then Sophia, she doesn't want that. She thinks it's all lies. She's like, no, these are all lies. These are all hysterical. No, you're crazy. No. And then he's like, what if he's telling the truth? Like, you actually see him sad, because he's like, what if he is telling the truth? And he's like, look, I don't want you. He says, you can kill me. He goes, I'm tired. I don't want to be here anymore. He goes, you can run the TVA. You can run the whole universe, the multiverse, everything. Time itself, and everything will be good. Or you can kill me and cause the multiverse war, and a much worse version of myself will show up soon. And it'll be bad for everyone. And so they decide she wants to still kill him, and Loki doesn't want to. And so finally, she kisses Loki as a distraction and throws him into another dimension and throws him back at the TVA, and then she throws a table. He's just watching all this, by the way. He who once was. He's just watching this because it's entertaining to him. But then she's like, "You gonna say anything?" He goes, "I'm tired." And then she just stabs him, and then he says to her, "I'll see you soon." And Loki comes through the portal, and there's Mobius there, and you see the time. She realizes she's wrong, that he was right, and she sees the multiverse timeline just spread out, and you see universes. Because at the beginning of it, you see like this giant bang of like all the Marvel that we've seen before, from the first Marvel movie, like Iron Man, all the way up to Endgame. You hear the voices of the clips, and then you just see like the multiverse spread out. Like you just see, and you're like, uh-oh, are we about to see other universes? Perhaps that's not the MCU, like perhaps Venom, or perhaps 2 other Spider-Men who may show up in another Spider-Man movie this December. Or maybe X-Men coming through to this universe, perhaps. Wouldn't it be great if the Fantastic Four from the 2005 film and the Fantastic Four from 2015 film showed up in this universe? And then be like, "Oh my God, Steve Rogers, you're alive!" He goes, "Who's Steve Rogers? My name's Johnny Storm." Oh my God, that'd be so great, wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, just like that happens, and then all-out war, and like basically he goes through to tell Mobius what's happening, what someone evil is coming through, and Mobius like, "Who are you?" And he realizes he's not in the right timeline, like this has been changed. And he goes, "Where are you from?" And like he sees a giant, and then Mobius is like signaling for security to come here, and then he sees a giant statue of the evil version of Nathaniel Richards. Of a certain, I don't want to say his name, but I mean he's called Blank the Conqueror, and he's a statue of him without his helmet, and it's just like, oh, he's there, and I'm just like, oh, and it just ends, and you're just like, and it says in a file print Loki back for season 2, and I really like that so much. It's really hard for me to give bad things. I will say episode 3 or 4, I'm gonna say, I mean, most of it has been like kissing this butt of this show, but it's so good. It doesn't even really feel like, there is one episode that feels like a filler, and I think it was like episode 3 it was, with him and Sophia just walking around this planet that's dying. I just felt like that was boring. I said, like, come on, do something better. But after that, it picks up and gets like going. After that episode, you start just getting there. Because there's only 6 episodes, but it gets going. After episode 3, it gets going, and it's just like a thrill ride to the end. If that's like if that's the worst episode, then this is like a perfect series. Okay. If I had to give this grade, I'm gonna give Loki an A-. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to have a review for Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy coming soon. I just got some Space Jam shirts. I'm so ready for a review, man. I'm so ready. Thank you all for watching. Just fall down the rabbit hole for more. Thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye.